What's up, guys? James Carter TV here to recap the Tennessee Titans draft picks in rounds 2 and 3. But really, it's just round 2 and then one pick from round 3. The second pick, actually, it was the first. It was the first pick of round 3, the 64th pick overall. So really, pretty much, the Titans had 4 second rounders today, basically. And it was interesting. If you go back to my video yesterday, if you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, I suggest you go watch it. I wasn't a big fan of the Jack Conklin pick, mainly because I did not like the idea of trading up to number 8 overall and taking Jack Conklin. I am not of the belief, still to this moment, that Jack Conklin, was worth the number 8 overall pick in this draft. I don't think it's the top 8 prospect, the top 10 prospect, the top 15 prospect. The Titans felt that they moved up, they took him, and they gave up a third rounder, 76 pick overall that I think they could really use right now. But anyway, with that in mind, I came into today with lowered expectations for John Robinson. You know, we love John Robinson so far as the Titans general manager. He came in, he did a great job with free agency, he moved back, that's great. But we haven't seen his draft philosophy, and I needed to be a little reserved and see how well is he going to draft, because you can do great in free agency, blah, blah, blah. Can you draft well? And after today, I think he can do okay. I don't think he's a great general manager. Obviously, we will find out in years to come whether or not this is the case. But I have an issue with some of these picks today, and I like some of these picks today. So let's go in sequential order. Again, if you want the Jack Conklin video, you look back for yesterday's video on that. And also, tomorrow night, I will recap yet again the Titans' day 3 picks, and also just a big old draft recap for the Tennessee Titans as well. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. So let's start with Kevin Dodd. Kevin Dodd, number 33 overall. I didn't like this pick. Everyone knows we need a pass rusher. I agree. We should take a pass rusher in this draft. We should take a pass rusher within our first 5 picks. I agree. I would have taken it with the 3rd round pick. I would have took Jordan Jenkins out of Georgia. I would have took Joshua Perry out of Ohio State. I would have took it maybe in the 2nd round, maybe Camilla Correa. But Kevin Dodd is a pick that just doesn't make much sense to me. I'm not a big Kevin Dodd fan. He's not very athletic. You're asking him now to move from playing 4-3 defensive end to now playing 3-4 outside linebacker as a guy that isn't very athletic, as a guy that was a one-year wonder, a guy that I think is already 23 or 24 years old as of this moment, a guy that was only a one-year starter at Clemson. I don't love this pick. I'm not sure he's a great fit for a 3-4 scheme. He's like Derrick Morgan, except maybe a little bit more of a pass rusher. I think you should have went Miles Jack here. I mean, considering the fact that he's still available on the board, he still has great potential to be a great player on this NFL level. And even if you don't go him, you still have huge needs at wide receiver and cornerback that continue to be huge needs throughout the entire 2nd and 3rd round. But overall, it's not a bad pick, because there is a chance. If Kevin Dodd can successfully transition to 3-4 defense, he can be a good pick. And we can look back and say, okay, good, we got a good player here. But don't forget, Brian Orakpo and Derrick Morgan, they still have 3 more years on their deal. So this is a rotational player that we took with the 33rd pick in the draft, almost a first rounder that we've taken here, rotational player. A guy that's going to have some troubles transitioning to a 3-4 defense, and for that I give it a B-. Next, we move on to my favorite pick. Oh my God, my favorite pick from the 2016 NFL Draft for the Tennessee Titans, and that is Austin Johnson, the nose tackle out of Penn State. I think he's better than Jack Conklin. I think I had Austin Johnson as a first-round talent. I think he's an absolute penetrator of offensive lines. I mean, this guy just bursts through offensive lines like it's nothing at 323 pounds. You're talking about drafting a nose tackle that can help get to the passer, help rush the passer, doesn't have to be off the field, can actually play on the field 100%, maybe not 100%, but 90% of the time as a nose tackle. I mean, this guy had 7.5 sacks again at 323 pounds over at Penn State. People were talking about Carl Nassib. I think Carl Nassib was able to do so much because Austin Johnson got so much pressure up the middle, while last year we had Al Woods and Sammy Lee Hill that never did any of that. We have Daquan Jones, who I like as a starter on our defensive line, who will still start, but Daquan Jones is not anywhere near a pass rusher. So you need to have another pass rusher on this defensive line. You have one here in Austin Johnson. This is an A+ pick. I love Austin Johnson, and believe you me, Austin Johnson will be the best player from this Titans draft. I guarantee it. You come back, you vault me, you come back, that's fine. Austin Johnson will be better than Jack Conklin. He will be better than Kevin Dodd. He will be better than the next pick, Derrick Henry. Now, people hate this pick, and I understand why. I wouldn't have taken a running back in this 2016 NFL draft if I was the Tennessee Titans. Number one, you traded for DeMarco Murray, a trade that you have been proclaiming, hey, look at this great trade that we did. I mean, you've been talking about how great of a trade this was for you. And also, I don't like any of these running backs in the 2016 NFL draft, any of them. Even Ezekiel Elliott, who I've been on the record for again and again and again saying, I really don't like this guy. So you take Derrick Henry. I don't hate it, though. Derrick Henry is actually a good football player, and he's of value here. That's the big thing, I think, with John Robinson that I'm seeing. He's very big on taking players of value, and I'm a value guy. I've seen teams over decades get away with drafting best player available, even at positions not even of need. So when you're taking players of value, you always get a B from me, or a B- at least. Kevin Dodd, little bit above value, but not too much. That's why he got a B-, but it's a B because he's of value. Derrick Henry is worth the 45th pick in the NFL draft. Now, when you juxtapose him with DeMarco Murray, what are the differences there? I don't know. I think Derrick Henry may be more of a Honestly, I think Derrick Henry may be more of a home run hitter than DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray is more of a guy that gets you 10, 15, 5, 6, 3, 2, 5, 16, 10, 5. Like, he's a consistent guy, but not a home run hitter. Derrick Henry had a lot of home runs. I mean, this is a guy, he ran a 4.54 at the combine. Not particularly very fast, but definitely fast enough to get away from some guys at the collegiate level, and he did that consistently at Alabama. So I think Derrick Henry is actually more of a home run hitter than DeMarco Murray. So is this a smash and dash? No, that is definitely not that. I guess it's a ground and pound. I guess that's the name you want to call it. They're building an identity, and it's not the identity that I would build. If I was the Tennessee Titans long ago, before this draft, before the 2014 draft, I would have 2015 draft, I should say. I would have drafted Marcus Mariota. I would have drafted hella wide receivers. I would have drafted a fast running back, and we would have spread this football out, and we would have spread the field, and man, we'd be going downfield in the vertical passing game. They're doing the opposite. They're getting hella tight ends, hella running backs, hella offensive linemen, and they're going to run the football. And even though that's not the way I would build this football team, at least the Tennessee Titans are developing an identity. They are a running the football, smash mouth, exotic smash mouth football team, and Derrick Henry adds to that. How many carries is he going to get per game? No more than 12. I mean, if he got more than 12, I'd be surprised. DeMarco Murray, this guy signed a 4-year contract, so you're talking about Derrick Henry or DeMarco Murray being your running backs for 4 years, and I'm fine with that because I was never on board with Antonio Andrews or David Cobb or any of those other clowns that we have, Bishop Sankey, Dexter McCluster. I hate them all. So with that in mind, Derrick Henry, again, it's a pick of value. You now have a good backup running back, but yes, you should have drafted wide receivers. Specifically, you should have drafted Michael Thomas out of Ohio State. You should have drafted a cornerback, specifically Kendall Fuller out of Virginia Tech, or Mackenzie Alexander out of Clemson. And you will look back and you will say, I should have drafted Mackenzie Alexander. I should have drafted Michael Thomas. I should have drafted Tyler Boyd. But after you say those guys, I actually like this pick. I like this pick more than Von Bell. Because when you look at Von Bell or any other safety that's going to come in, and we ended up drafting a safety who I'm about to get into, like a safety that comes in this year is not going to play much at all. We signed Rashad Johnson in free agency, Arizona Cardinals free safety. He's going to start presumably at free safety. So when you draft a safety, you're drafting him for year 2017 and beyond, and Derrick Henry is going to have a bigger impact than a safety would at this spot. So I'm fine with the safety here. And same goes with the tight end. There's been some talk of the Titans possibly taking a tight end, and I still think that's possible, maybe in the 5th, 6th round. So overall, I don't mind this pick. I give it a B, again, because you should have took a wide receiver here. You really should have. You really should have took Michael Thomas. But you're building an identity. I don't love the identity, but I think it could work. It could work. And I think Derrick Henry, again, is a good football player. You got a good football player of value here. It's a B. And then we end with Kevin Byard out of Middle Tennessee State. Those of you that follow me on Twitter, and you should, at James Carter TV, know that I really didn't like this pick at first, but I decided to shut my mouth. I shut down Twitter. I turned off the draft for an hour. And I started watching Kevin Byard film because, honestly, I had not watched any film on this guy. The only film I had watched would be his game against Middle Tennessee State. Against Alabama, he plays for Middle Tennessee State. And he impressed me in that one. I wanted to see more. I saw more, and he impresses me. I now believe, okay, he's worth a 3rd-round pick. Now, this is the first pick in the 3rd round, so it's a little bit of a reach. Also, considering the fact that he's not going to start in 2016, probably. Also consider the fact that Kendall Fuller is still on the board, and you still have a huge need at cornerback, and Braxton Miller is still on the board, and you still have a huge need at wide receiver. But I do believe Kevin Byard can be a good starting free safety for you in the future. I can see those tools from him. I can see that potential from him. Kid out of MTSU, probably the best player MTSU's ever had, at least in my lifetime. I've never seen MTSU have a draft pick this high. A good potential here to be a free safety for years to come. But again, you should have took a cornerback. You should have took a wide receiver. And for that, I have to dock it a little bit, and I give it, again, a B. Now, looking forward, in 2017, you got to take a wide receiver and you got to take a cornerback. Our cornerbacks stink. John Robinson, our cornerbacks, they suck, dude. Jason McCourty is not a number 1 corner. I don't know why anyone ever thought he was. Parrish Cox, he showed at the end of last season. He's okay, but man, he can get burned. You sign Antoine Blake, who stinks. You sign Bryce McCain, who stinks. Bleedy Ray Wilson, we know, stinks. Come on, man. We are going to get torched in the secondary. You're talking about Allen Robinson. You're talking about T.Y. Hilton, all in our division. That's going to rip us to absolute shreds this season. Texans just signed Will Fuller. No one's going to stop this guy from just blowing past our slow, weak secondary. And that's going to be a problem in 2016. You look at our wide receivers. Dorial Green-Beckham. I like Dorial Green-Beckham. I want to believe he's going to be a 1,000-yard wide receiver, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's another bust. I wouldn't be surprised if he's another Kenny Britton. You have to plan for that. You have to prepare for that. I'm done with Kendall Wright. Rashard Matthews is fine, but you do not have a number 1 wide receiver, game-changing wide receiver like A.J. Green or Julio Jones or Odell Beckham or DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to have to get one in 2017, and his name is Juju Smith-Schuster, and that is who you should be scouting right now, because that's who you need. Or Malachi Dupree, or Travin Durrell if he even gets that high, or the kid out of Texas A&M. But anyway, wide receiver, cornerback, 2017. You got to take. That's it. Now we know running back isn't going to be taken. We know pass rusher won't be taken. Please, for the love of God, can you take one in 2017? We're not going to make the playoffs this year. These draft picks were fine. They're not going to stop anything. Overall, all of these players are good, right? We didn't go out and we didn't draft a crazy loser that just sucks, right? We just drafted kids that won't play for a while or at all, like Kevin Dodd, and that's just a little bit discomforting for me. But in terms of this, let's say our goal is to get to the Super Bowl in 2018, right? If that's our goal, I think we actually took a step forward for that goal. Now, When I make my official Titans draft recap tomorrow, I will give you my overall grade on their draft. But for now, I like it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I like it. I'm intrigued. We'll see what the future beholds. Until next time, James Carter TV, I'm out. Peace.